West, y'all. I'm Shy Excel, man. And let me tell you something. We different over here. Let's go.
Go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters. Whoa, go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters. Whoa. Yo, what you say? No, we don't play you out your mind. Watch what you say, that type of shit could get your line. And if you search, then let me tell you what you'll find. The city is mine. Just a mud who became the pick of the litter. Now my name ring bells when you talk heavy hitters. Nice nigga, but don't make me transform like Thriller. Sam Cook a nigga beat like I was born by the river. Go get her, you kiss her, you get off of the shitter. Can't put you in the spotlight, you niggas are with her. Keep an eye open around for any nigga that slither. Cause it ain't no sunshine here like Bill Withers. Whoa, fuck you know about this life I live. How you gonna talk to me like I ain't lose no crib, ain't lose no kid, ain't sleep in my car and I ain't lose no gig. Shit, I never gave an order that I ain't did, and I ain't never take a fucking thing that I wouldn't give. Always kept it a bill, homie, I ain't fit, and if I had to go sit, then I just do my bid. Yo, my whole team full of steel beams we can't fold. Your whole circle full of some squares you can't roll. That's why we always take it to levels you can't go. Talk shit, but you can see me with these hands though. If it's a kill like a flying box. No, not on my watch. Got a better chance to rewind clocks when you quit, nigga, when time stops, bitch. Go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters. Whoa, go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters. Whoa.
This flow is award winning. Torment them, bomb to death, I'm bored with them. Trash him, throw him away with the has-beens. Ice cold with the flow, I'm Alaskan. You was in the fucking jungle in the past tense. I be with the lions, they my friends, Harold Baskins. And like her, they'll never find a body. Tiger stripe tracksuit, feeling like Joe Exotic. Shit, I don't know what it is, but I know I got it. Feeling like Alonzo surgical with the shotty. All you see is skull and bones, Illuminati. Probably I be the illest nigga to do it. I just talk shit on the beat and they call it music. I just come provide you with heat, remain the coolest. You ain't never been in the street with all the shooters. I was sipping yak with rioters and looters. Gotta keep my boots laid, shoot straight, run up on you with the loose 8 and a screw face. It's bad out here, my style effortless. 2 hands hugging a Ruger, so affectionate. A lot of suckers on one war, I'm respecting it. Biggest stepper, snatch a plate, the hood starving. Cause they got beards who trade like James Harden. Straight from NY to Philly, we still mobbing.
Go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters. Whoa, go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Y'all ain't ready yet, man. Here it come right now. Prepare yourself. Here comes the boom.
Here come the boom. Look who just stepped in the room. Got soldiers in every direction. As long as they step in in tune. I be in all black with the groom. Watching Babylon fall to a doom. No, I'm ready, and I know that you know that her love is deadly, but I am immune. These niggas talking rude to whom? That's a spot you'll be moving soon, and you'll be leaving shortly. Still fucking with them angels, yeah, they still enforcement. Got a whole lot until I can't get it off it. Plus I'm winning like I got a blue ribbon orbit. King one West, bitch, I'm making party. See, I knew these niggas like to do that pillow talking, so that's why I bought a Glock to the summer party. Got it off the dust. I just been getting to it pretty much. That brotherhood and weapon, gotta keep it in the club. If it ain't one West nigga, huh? I don't want to hear it, keep your tone down. Had a couple conversations, but it's on now. So you can kill it, speculation, bitch, I'm thrown down. And if you want a conversation, set it zone down. Nigga, but he say I ain't here, I'm out of zone down. Can't walk, this is a low bound. I'm 44, I'm on another level with it. These niggas never listen, so I let the devil get his ass. I try to tell you, I'm a rebel nigga. Better be careful if you ever think I'm stepping in my pound. Cause it ain't no thing, stay in your lane. Now I'm playing twisted metal with his ass. Got it out the gut. I just began to it pretty much. Your brotherhood and weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. Revenge to my main bitch, I think I got a crush. And she know that I got some sick shit inside me. Bitch, you know ISUPK versus Devin Riding. Got the top through the buttons like he Teddy Riley. I'ma race through the track like a Ricky Bobby. Got it out the dust. I just began to it pretty much. Your brotherhood and weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. Gotta keep it with me, it's a must.
Mic check 1 2. Y'all can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Clear. Extremely clear.
All right, no doubt. No, yeah, I pulled out the big mic today.
Yeah, don't seem like that Mike Tazariak had the other day.
Yeah, I wasn't in the house then, but so y'all know we streaming on Cross the Line as well. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share the screen on Cross the Line. That's gonna be the link for the actual visuals. You know what I'm saying?
If you can just send me the link, I'll throw it up there.
I got you. I'm gonna text it to you now. And then just anybody that's actually watching from Cross the Line, just put a 1 in the chat if y'all could hear everything going on Clubhouse. Let me just make sure that the audio is all right and correct. I know the visuals is right. Just, you know what I'm saying? Give me a 1 for the sound, all right?
The best debate platform on Clubhouse. The best. Debate platform on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I got you. Y'all need a Thriller laugh after that.
Damn right. Hey, as Katazar said, man, if y'all want to see the visuals, you could definitely, while he's doing his presentation, y'all click the link up top. We're gonna give it a couple more minutes, let people get in here. We open up the room early to get people in here early, prepare for the debate. So we'll give it a couple more minutes and we can start up. Halab, Corey, y'all good to go?
I'm good to go. I'm gonna
praise.
I'm gonna give the rules, and then y'all, what's up? You want to lead today's debate?
Why not?
Y'all, what's up? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I said why not. I could do that.
All praises, man. Make sure y'all following the Versus platform. Click that little greenhouse, become a member, and nominate others. Like the brother said, the best, the top, the most prestige debate platform.
The big leagues
on Clubhouse. This is the big leagues. This is what we say on the Versus platform. If you debated somewhere else, it don't count.
It don't count.
If you took a L somewhere else, hey, you can come here and beat that same individual that said that they gave you that L, and it'll count here. So make sure you locked into the Versus platform. Hit up brothers like Yawasop of Ron Gadal Gabari, Amal Halab of Tabernacle of David, myself of Tabernacle of David. Hit up Captain Katazar, Captain Tazaria, Brother Daraj of True Nation, brothers Rodney, whoever you come encounter with, hit brothers up and get on the Clubhouse app and get on the Versus platform to have a form of debate. This one I'm excited about. I'm gonna be honest, I'm excited about this bill. I'm excited about this debate. I think there's gonna be edification that comes forth. I'm excited about it. So hopefully everybody is prepared. We're gonna try to let the building pack up, but the only way we can do that is if everybody ping and share. I don't feel like Darash. I don't feel like Captain Katazal should be pinging or sharing at all. They've done enough. It's an 88-minute debate. They've put together a lot of information to be able to demonstrate to the people. Everybody in the building right now should be locked in. It should be pinged out. Ping your whole follower list. If it's 300 people, you should just be sitting there pinging. Why not if everybody else is in a room working? We have to work together as a collective to get the people in the building to be able to analyze this information, to see what's truth and what's false. So let's ping as many as people as you can into the room and share the room. You have the ability to share the room many times. The side chat will be clipped ASAP before the debate start. Now, of course, the side chat will be clipped during the debate. It won't open up until afterwards. But it will be clipped a lot sooner than that if we cannot get the shares up. So make sure y'all get the shares up so y'all will not clip the chat, man. Make sure you following Brother Daraj of True Nation, Captain Katsab, ISUPK on the Clubhouse platform. If you over on the YouTube right now, excuse me, and you're not familiar with Clubhouse, download the Clubhouse app, come on, create a profile, and then you can follow platforms here as in God First Gang or One West World or the True Nation platform, Sons of Thunder, House of Rum, Crown of Thorns. You can follow these platforms to be able to connect with brothers, to be able to get on the stage and build, ask questions, learn, and teach points. So this is the Versus platform, man. Let's get it. Let's make sure we like and share. Hey, y'all, what's up? How many shares we got? How many shares we got? Y'all, what's up?
Let me see. We got 112 shares. I need more than that.
Hey, Salaki, what you think about if they don't have enough shares, we don't turn the chat back on, period? How about that?
I like that.
That's an excellent point. Excellent point.
This is clear extortion. All right.
Hey man, it gotta be like that, man. Let me see. How many you said we had?
129.
Chat lives matter, y'all. Chat lives matter.
Yeah, we gotta make sure that they feel like their lives matter, man. Share. We got 180 people in the room. We should be at 300 plus shares. If everybody do it twice, what we doing, man? You can't share the Captain Katazar versus Daraj debate. What we doing? You can't share that 3 times. I'm confused. I'm on round 2 right now. Let me get the second one in right quick. Get the second one in, man. You can't share that 3 times. I'm confused, man. We're trying to make sure we get the building packed so we can start this debate. Hey, Captain Katazar, are you good pretty much on all the functionality and everything over there on your side?
Yeah, I just before I start, the only thing I would need is maybe a second because right now what I'm sharing on the screen is Clubhouse. So just whenever my round is, I don't know who's going first or second. I would just need a second to switch the screen over from here to the actual PowerPoint before I begin. So outside of that, you know what I'm saying, I'm straight. You know what I mean? But we good to go.
God, all praises. I think y'all was helping sort out who's first or who's second. So I'm gonna start off with the rules to make sure all parties are informed and involved. So tonight we have an 88-minute debate. We have an 88-minute debate on the Versus platform, which is the bigger debates. Y'all, what's up? You was unmuted? Oh, okay, you good. So 88-minute debate, man. Captain Katazav versus Daraj. Is Ruth an Israelite or a Moabite? You got to figure this out, man. So 88-minute debate, all edification given. Right now, we'll give clarity to who's going first, who's going second, but the rules are like this. So we try to stick to, we try to adopt the God First Game rules over to the Versus platform, which is biblical integrity. Try not to quote or make reference to the Bible without citing book, chapter, verse. What that does is allows all of us to follow along, but also write it down if we couldn't follow along to be able to study it at a later time, to be that like that Church of Berea to make sure things are authentic and positions are in context. So I'll try to be book, chapter, verse on this platform. It's primary KJV, but we do allow comparative text. So if you are going into a different version, then just make sure you state it. Like St. John chapter 3, verse 16 in the ESV. Then that way people will know what you're touching on. So we do allow comparative text here. Of course, the 80 canonized books. I think I have to mention that with these two individuals. That is on the platform. So other than that, going into round one. Round one would be 10 minutes apiece. Round two would be 10 minutes apiece. And round three would be 20 minutes apiece. The additional 8 minutes of the 88-minute debate comes from the introduction and the conclusion, meaning at the very beginning, depending on who goes first, someone will give a 2-minute introduction. So in your introduction, you'll give your name, your school, as well as what you're going to teach today. In the introduction, you cannot do no Bible verses. Just have to utilize your own words and give what you're going to teach today. After both parties go, and then it goes into round one. Round one is your premise round. The clock, we advise that both opponents keep their own clock, but we will be keeping the main clock. The main clock is the authoritative clock. You shouldn't be arguing about you feel like you got 6 more seconds, so on and so forth. The main clock is the authoritative clock. You're keeping a clock to have a roundabout number about where you are to make sure you're landing and make sure the opponent is not getting an extra 2 or 3 minutes. Everything is kept. Replays is on. We'll also be streaming live on YouTube, so everything will be authenticated that way. But we will be hosting a main clock. Mahala, would you be able to hold a clock? Not sure if he can get to his mic right now.
Yeah, I can.
Con all praises. So Mahala will be holding the main clock for the Versus platform for tonight's debate. Moving forward, so round one will be the premise round. Both parties will be given the space to lay down their premise without interruption. Then we will progress into round two. Round two will be your premise and or rebuttal round, meaning you can rebuttal the entire round. You can lay down your premise the entire round, or you can do a mixture of both. You have that free range to do so. You can further your point in the ground that you did in round one, whatever you elect to do. So you have that free range in round two. When we advance to round three, there will be an individual put on the hot seat, and one of them will be asking questions. So it's the questionnaire round, the hot seat round. Is going to be 20 minutes apiece. So this individual will get 20 minutes, and then the next opponent will get 20 minutes. The rules for the questionnaire round mainly sits inside of the person who's sitting on the hot seat giving the answers. Meaning, if you're sitting on the hot seat giving the answers, then the rules will apply to you. So the first rule will be you can only answer questions with answers, meaning you can't answer them with questions. No questions thrown back, no rhetorical questions, etc. You can only answer them with answers. Make sure you guys understand that. That's the first one. Now, we're not lenient with the rhetorical questions, but it won't be any penalties. We'll just try to get in there, maybe stop the time, let you know, hey, as a rhetorical question, try to yield from that, and then you just keep going. It's not a major thing because we understand when brothers is in the spirit and they teaching, sometimes things can be phrased different ways. So that's not a heavy point, but just pay attention because we will be paying attention. The other rule will be the answering. will be a reference to if you're asked a yes or no question. So if you're asked a yes or no question, you must say yes or no, and then you have the space to expound on your yes or no. So if you're asked a yes or no question, you must answer yes or no, in your space to expound, but with a 2-minute cap, a 2-minute maximum on your answer. So we'll be keeping the 2-minute time frame in your round 3 as well to make sure you don't go over and above. So do both brothers understand those rules?
God.
My bad, my mic
And
was
Cap,
down. Con, for sure.
okay, con. And then it will advance into the conclusion. So at the end of round 3, both of you guys will be given 2 minutes to conclude. You want to restate your name, restate your school, and then tell us what you taught us today. And in your conclusion, you can utilize book, chapter, verse. You can make mention to verses, touch on, etc. But that'll still be a strict 2 minutes. After the conclusion, we have 2 other sections that brothers can elect to have, meaning there's a area where it's just free range, back and forth, back alley brawling, an open bill, meaning you can set a time frame to say, hey, we got 1 or 2 things we need to iron out from this 88-minute debate. I got one more point to make, so let's have an open bill. You guys can elect to 5 minutes. You guys can elect to 20 minutes, something like that. And in the open build, there's no rules. Get in where you fit in. It is what it is. We don't care. On the Versus platform, ad homs are allowed, but decorum is a must. So you can't throw out ad homs when it's not your time, but ad homs is allowed on the Versus platform. In the open build, etc., in the formal debate, is free range. We're all listening and paying attention to what you say, as well as the education that's coming out. But just to be crystal clear, there will be an open build time frame. After that, you guys can elect the time if you want to do it or not. And then also you can elect if you actually want to receive questions from the audience. And then we allow both opponents to choose how many questions you want to receive, but it has to be equal. So if both of you say, hey, we just take a question, that's it, or 3 questions, from 3, as long as it's even on both sides, we'll bring people up, authentic people that actually really truly believes different than you. We'll bring them up, and then they'll ask you a solid question. We'll drop them back down to the audience. So that'll be at a later time. After the
Bendigo, you
88-minute
crazy,
debate, you
bro.
guys can make that declaration on if you want to elect to one of the 2 or both of them or none of them. That'll be fair. On the Versus platform, we do not grade or judge debates as moderators. We allow the people to judge the debates. We don't have judges. We don't do none of that. We allow the people to say who got their ass kicked, and it's just simple as that. We want to try to keep things down the middle and unbiased on a Versus platform. So there's no judging or anything like that. The edification goes out, and that's it. So, Yawasop, did you have anything to add, or Mahala?
No, I'm good. Let's go.
All right, Khan, I'm bouncing to you, to Yawasop, to get the clarity on who's going first.
All right. I know Darash texted me and said if need be, he will go first, but I wanted both of y'all to agree because I set up the debate personally. Nobody challenged each other. So this is gonna run different. So Darash, did you still want to do that?
Kind of like I said, if we had to do a coin toss or whatever the case, or if the brother don't want to go first, I don't mind going first. No big deal.
Katazah, what you want to do? Agree to that or flip a coin?
I didn't mind either. I thought I was prepared that we were doing the coin flip. So I mean, it doesn't matter to me, bro.
We can flip. That's cool.
Yeah, we good. That's cool.
All right, cool. All right, let's do it. Give me a second.
Everybody should be
You
continuing to
following
ping and share
God.
throughout the debate. Throughout the debate, you should be pinging and sharing this space. This is a much anticipated debate. I did not get to speak on it, but I'm definitely excited for this debate. You know, we've been talking about it for some time. These two mighty men of the Most High and their understandings being brought forth on the stage, one-on-one in a formal debate. This is a big deal. We should have about 300 shares in here, right? We should have about 300 shares. Everybody should be sharing throughout the debate, pinging throughout the debate. Make sure you follow Captain Katazai. Make sure you follow the brother Darash. Make sure you follow the brother Corey Yawasat. Follow myself and follow the Versus platform. Follow the Versus platform. All right.
All right, I got a nickel in my hand. I got a nickel. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it. Well, yeah, of course, obviously. Who got heads? Who got tails?
Who flips a nickel?
I couldn't find the quarter, Rock. I couldn't find the quarter, man. So I get.
Good night. Well, let's get it, y'all. So we Ross with the nickel too. So just let it hit the ground. You got something we can hear where it hit the ground?
Yeah, I'm gonna flip it on my glass table.
Oh, praises. All right, who got heads? Who got tails? What we doing, brothers?
I'll take heads.
All right.
All right, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a picture of it.
No, just call it, man. You know what I mean?
We believe you, man.
Yeah, I trust you, kind of.
All praises. Ready? Let's go. And it is tails.
Tails. Daraj, what do you elect to do? Go first or go second?
God, I'll go first.
All right, so Daraj wants to go first. So this is how it goes. So Daraj, you'll be going first in round one, first in round two, and then you'll actually put Katazar on the hot seat first. So Katazar will have to sit on the hot seat first, and then after that, of course, Katazar will get his questions off right after you. You understand that, brother?
Yes, Khan.
All right, Khan, all praises. So Darash elected to go first in round one. Let's get the time set. Y'all, what's up? I'm gonna let you lead debate and host it from here. Make sure you following the Versus platform. Click that little greenhouse, become a member, nominate others. This is Daraj versus Katazar. Is Ruth an Israelite or a Moabite? Y'all, what's up? The floor is yours.
Quick question, Corey, because I know when you sent me the debate outline, it said intro, then round one. So is it intro and round one's going to be together?
No, I apologize. So it's going to be the introduction right now. So it's just going to be 2 minutes, and then for you, and then 2 minutes for Captain Katazar, and then we're going to advance into round one. Salaki.
Salaki, I don't know if I might have missed it, but did you explain to them when I'm going to be calling the times?
No,
you didn't.
Yep. I was very, very thorough on everything else, but Mahalab, you can go ahead and let them know.
Khan, so for the opening 2 minutes, I'm just going to say time, and then you will be allowed to finish your last sentence after I call time on the 2 minutes. So I'll just say time. For the 10-minute rounds, I'll call when it's 5 minutes left, and then I'll say 1 minute left, and then I'll call time. I will not repeat myself. I will only say 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, and time. For the 20-minute round, I will say 10 minutes left. I'll say 1 minute left, right? And then I will allow, if there's a question on the table in that 1 minute, I will allow still the 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes to respond. So you will get on the hot seat for the questions. You will get up to 2 minutes to respond. You don't have to take the whole 2 minutes, but you get up to 2 minutes. All right. So then the last round, or the conclusion, it's not really a round. I'll just call time again and let you land. All right. So I'll say 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, and time. I will not repeat myself. You cannot ask, or you can ask me if you want, but I won't answer if you ask me to restate the time. You have to listen closely. I'll make sure that I'm able to be loud and clear, and that is how I will be calling the time.
Con.
All right, you ready with the time, Halal? Flash your mic. All praises. Your time starts when you start speaking, Darash. Introduction, 2 minutes.
Con, all praise to the Most High. Shalom, Israel. Apostle Darash over a True Nation Israelite congregation. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushai. And my stance, as well as my body, my congregation stance, is that Ruth is not an Israelite, but in fact a Moabite by blood, by lineage. I'm almost positive that my opponent is going to try to show that because there was an area known as the Plains of Moab in the land of Reuben, she's a Reubenite. And the land of Moab is representing the Plains of Moab in the land of Reuben. He's going to give the history of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, warring and defeating Moab and taking their land from Jabbok to Arnon in Numbers 21, and how in Numbers 33, the land is still known as Moab. After Israel defeats the Amorites, we took the same land and gave it to Reuben. Plains of Moab was never renamed, all that good stuff. However, there's a few issues with that. We know that the actual land or country of Moab still existed below the Arnon River. And Plains of Moab and country of Moab are two different words, both in Hebrew and in English. And I'm also going to go through the book of Ruth itself to prove that by nationality, Ruth was in fact a Moabite of the lineage of Moab. Again, just simply reading through the book of Ruth and showing the clear evidence in the scriptures. And with that, I'm going to yield the remainder of my time, and we can get into it in the next round.
All right, all praises. You got the time, Halak? All right, Cat. Your time starts when you start speaking.
Hey, shalom. Yahweh Shabrak Thumb, no, my brothers. Yahweh Shemal Dub, Hashem Shadow, all my sisters. I'm Captain Katazai, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Start at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And my opponent said is absolutely correct. That you understand. I'm not going to say she's a Reubenite, but this is what you should know. Ruth is for sure an Israelite. And that the story of Ruth does actually take place in the land of Reuben. And I'm going to prove that without a shadow of a doubt, because there's something that we have to do as a people. We have to actually do diligent and unbiased research instead of being indoctrinated and bringing things over from Christianity into the truth. You understand? Or what you want to call the truth for that matter. So what y'all going to see today is that link at the top. That's actually going to be a PowerPoint presentation for you to actually get some visuals. Why? Because when you study the Bible, you also have to look at maps. We need to understand geography. And y'all are going to see that there is no way that in Christ's lineage, you're going to see that there is a heathen. There's no way that you are going to turn around and tell me that Obed, Jesse, as well as David was allowed in the congregation when their grandmother was a heathen. And there's no way you're going to tell me that the Lord's washpot that is Moab is going to be a virtuous sister by the name of Ruth. You understand? So what we got to know is that we cannot forget what we know trying to learn something new. Ruth is an Israelite, plain and simple. I'll land there.
All right. Thank you for that introduction. Halab, reset the time. Flash your mic when you're good. Darash, your time starts for your first round, being 10 minutes whenever you start speaking.
Khan, all praise to the Most High. We're just going to jump into the book of Ruth. Let's jump straight into it, right? Let's go to Ruth chapter 1 and verse 6. We're going to read. And it says, Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab. For she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread. So they were all in the country of Moab. They were not in the plains of Moab, which you read in the book of Numbers, right? And it says that she found out that the Lord had visited his people. Now, some people argue, well, it's talking about, well, because Christ came from the lineage of Judah, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, when we read, watch this. I'm going to go to 1 Samuel really quick. 1 Samuel chapter 9, and there's a couple other scriptures, but I'm short on time. The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 9 and verse 15. And it reads, Now the Lord had told Samuel in his ear a day before Saul came, saying, Tomorrow about this time I will send thee a man out of the land of Benjamin, and thou shalt anoint him to be captain over my people Israel, that he may save my people out of the hand of the Philistines, for I have looked upon my people, because their cry is come unto me. So if she was indeed an Israelite, there wouldn't have needed to be a distinction or a separation to say the Lord visited his people, because if this particular land was indeed a part of the inheritance, then it wouldn't have had to make that distinction, right? Now, let's go over to, let's drop down to Ruth chapter 1 and verse 10. And it reads, Salakia. I accidentally let go of the page. Ruth chapter 1 and verse 10. And it reads, And they said unto her, Surely we will return with thee unto thy people. Right? Now I'm going to drop down to verse 15. It says, and she said, this is Ruth, Behold, Salakia, this is Naomi, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God, my God. Right? Now, this ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. This just has to do with reading the Bible. Everyone doesn't have to be an Israelite. We already know this, right? Because you are the seed of your father, not the seed of your mother. That's Christianity. Now, when we read right here, we see that Ruth was like, Naomi said, go back to your people and your gods. She said, no, I want to be with you and your people. I want to be a part of your people, and I want your God. I will worship your God and follow your God, right? Now, let's drop down to Ruth chapter 2 and verse 10. Salaki, I actually want to get something with this right here. So when we read Ruth 1 and 15 through 16, we see that there's a distinction, right? Naomi said, go back to your gods. There's a few things wrong with this. If Ruth was in fact an Israelite, why would Naomi be telling her to go and worship or go back to your people and these other gods, right? Is she inciting her or letting her know it's okay to commit idolatry? Or is it the other side, which is they'll say, well, gods can mean anything. It means powers. It means judges. It means this. It means that. Okay, well, when you read through the scriptures, watch this in the book of Judges. I'm going to grab something out of Judges chapter, I think it's chapter 4. Judges chapter 3. I'm going to grab that first. The book of Judges chapter 3 and verse 14. Watch this. It says, so the children of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, 18 years. And when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord raised them up a deliverer, Ehud, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, a man left-handed. And by him the children of Israel sent a present unto Eglon, the king of Moab. Watch this. I'm going to jump over to Judges chapter 4. Judges chapter 4 and verse 5. It says, and she dwelt, is talking about Deborah,
5 minutes left.
Under the palm tree, and she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel, Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. I'm going to go to one more, and then I'm going to get to my point. Judges chapter 15 and verse 16. And Samson said, with the jawbone of an ass, heaps upon heaps, with the jaw of an ass have I slain 1,000 men. And it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking, that he cast away the jawbone of his hand and called that place Ramoth Lehi. And he was sore athirst and called the Lord and said, Thou hast given this great deliverance into the hand of thy servant, and now shall I die of thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised. Verse 19. But God clave an hollow place that was in the jaw, and there came water thereout. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he was revived. Wherefore he called the name thereof En Hakakori, which is in Lehi unto this day. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. So there's a number of things wrong with this here. So either Naomi said, go and worship these other gods, or you're saying, well, gods just means judges. He's saying, go back to this particular land with your judges. The problem is the book of Judges doesn't even teach that. Each judge judged all of Israel. There was not one particular judge in one particular tribe. During the time of Judges, which we know Ruth was in, they were judging all of Israel. So that wouldn't make sense either. Now, we get into Ruth chapter 5. I'm going to jump over here because I'm short of time. Ruth chapter 4, verse 5. And it says, Then said Boaz, What day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Verse 9. And Boaz said unto the elders, unto all the people, ye are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilon's and Mahlon's in the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, so on and so forth. I'm going to jump to a precept really quickly in Leviticus chapter 25, because the question will now be, if she's an Israelite, this was not a dowry. It's not dowry of virgin. She was purchased as property with the property. And the scriptures tell you, Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 44. It says, Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. So you can only purchase the heathen. So there's no way that if this woman is an Israelite, that they're going to purchase her as property, just like they did in just like the law says right here. So it doesn't make sense. Again, this ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. This has everything to do with just reading the book, just reading the Bible. You are the seed of your father. So it's not really that deep. Let me see. So let's go ahead and really quickly recap. I know I'm short on time. Ruth was from the country of Moab, not the same as the plains of Moab. If I have time in the next round, I'll make sure that I'll pull out even the Hebrew word for it. Ruth says she will follow Naomi's God as a
1 minute left.
As opposed to her own gods. Ruth, when you read, as a matter of fact, Salakia, let me grab that real quick. Nope, I ain't gonna have time. I'm gonna get it in the next round. Ruth was also purchased as property along with the real estate property, right? Now, I'm going to get one later on. We're going to talk about Ruth and her actually giving up the baby to Naomi. She didn't raise that child. Naomi nursed and raised that child. Why do that if that's her child and you're raising up seed in another man's name, your nearest of kin, the man's name? If Ruth was an Israelite, she could have easily raised that child up in righteousness. But we'll get to that in the next round. And with that, I'll yield the remainder of my time.
All right, all praises, all praises. Halab, reset the clock. Flash your mic when you got the clock right. Katazah. All right, all praises. Katazah, your time starts when you start speaking. Round 1, 10 minutes. Let's go.
Hey, just give me 1 second. Don't start the time yet. I'm just switching to the PowerPoint. All right.
Con.
And
Oh,
just go ahead,
about to
please.
start?
No. I'm only thing I was gonna say was click the link at the top if you want to see it. All right.
Con, yeah, that's what I was about to do.
Oh, you got it. You got it, Corey. I'm getting set up.
First and foremost, click the little green house at the top and become a member of the Versus platform. The top most formidable formal debate platform on the app. So make sure you click in the Versus platform, become a member, and nominate others. Follow the brothers on stage, Captain Katazai and Daraj, for putting together this lesson. Follow the moderators on stage, Jawasat, myself, Mal Halal, for moderating and keeping time and order on the Versus platform. So make sure you follow the brothers as well. I know Captain Katazai is putting together the PowerPoint.
I'm ready whenever you land.
Make sure you click the link at the top. If you're on if you're not over on YouTube right now and you're still in a Clubhouse, you have that option in just coming into the room to click that link at the top. You'll be able to actually see the PowerPoint of the display. So make sure you click that link at the top. Captain Kataza, the time will start when you start.
Deuteronomy, the 29th chapter. These are the words of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab. Extremely important as to why it says the land of Moab, because we're going to be talking about the country of Moab, the land of Moab, and the plains of Moab, all in proper context. So when you read Deuteronomy 29, you'll see that he was talking about the battle that took place. If we drop down, you understand, inside of the same chapter. So that was verse 1. We're going to drop down to verse 7. And when ye came onto this place, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us in battle and smote them. And we took their land and gave it for an inheritance onto the Reubenites and onto the Gadites and onto the half tribe of Manasseh. He said this where? He said this in what is supposed to be called the land of Moab. Was it the land of Moab? Well, let's go take a look. I want y'all to take a look at this map right here. You're going to see Bamoth Baal, Nebo, extremely important. Don't forget Nebo, Mount Nebo, Mount Pisgah. You understand? Pisgah, however you want to say it, and Heshbon, Mount Peor. All of this is extremely important. Why? Next map. Take a look over here where you see Heshbon, where you start to see all of those same names. All of them are above the Arnon River. So when you see the blue lines and when you see the red lines here, you start to see that this is all the territory that Israel conquered and that was given to Manasseh in the north, Gad in the middle, and then Reuben in the far south up to the Arnon River. You understand? Just east of Jericho, this is where Israel's camp is. Extremely important. Now, you could see another map. Here's Moab, the Arnon River, the path that they took where Israel's camp is. And you start to see Bamoth, Nebo, all of these different territories. I'm going to repeat these over and over until I drill them inside y'all heads. Ruth, chapter 2, verse 6. And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, is this the Moabite Tish? You know, it's funny that Israelites like to say Ish means kind of like or pertaining to, except when it comes to Ruth. Now, all of a sudden, you want to make this a daughter of Moab, when a daughter of Moab is different than someone who's Moabite Tish. Because it says the damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. Remember, the land of Moab was by Mount Nebo. Where's the country of Moab? And why is this so important? Why am I bringing up Moabitish? If you go and you look at that word, it's not the same as Moab. You understand? It's going to be Mawa'ab, yeah. That's why if y'all could see on the screen. And if you look at what the context could be, it can be an inhabitant of the land of Moab. Well, we were talking about where a land of Moab was a minute ago, weren't we? So now this is Deuteronomy 32 and 49. Keep up. It's pure gas right now. Get thee up into the mountain of Abarim onto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab. Was Mount Nebo in the land of Moab? That is over against Jericho. And behold, the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession. They're in Mount Nebo, and they're calling it the land of Moab. Well, let's go look in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. I mean, this is like the Israelite starter kit. You understand? You should have this week 1 as an Israelite. Nebo, first definition, a Babylonian god. Well, let's fast forward. 2, second definition, the name of the mountain from which Moses beheld the promised land. 3, a Moabite town near or on Mount Nebo. Where's Mount Nebo? Oh, here's a map. In the land of Reuben is what they called the land of Moab, even after they conquered it, which is east of Jericho, north of the Arnon River. Do we have another map? Oh, here's another one. Reuben, Mount Nebo, in the land of Reuben. Let's continue on. Deuteronomy 34:1. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab onto the mountain of Nebo. Here we see the plains of Moab, and the land of Moab in this context is all in the same location inside the land of Israel that we conquered, to the top of Pisgah that is over and against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead onto Dan. Let's fast forward once again, because here's Gilead. This is where the other tribes took. Below that is the plains of Moab, east of Jericho, where Mount Nebo is. Let's continue to the next map.
5 minutes left.
Thank you. The plains of Moab. Here's Nebo. Another map. I didn't draw these. I'm not a cartographer. Let's keep going. Once again, land taken from Sihon by Israel. Here's Arnon River. Here's the real land of Moab. But up here, we see the plains of Moab, which was also called the land of Moab, which we're going to get into that. This is the same place that Moses passed away. And it was called all of these names. Deuteronomy 34. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab onto the mountain of Nebo, onto the top of Pisgah that is over and against Jericho. We see that again. If we were to drop down, verse 5. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab. What is a Moabitish damsel? Someone who's from the land of Moab. Where did Moses die? And they buried him in the valley of Moab over against Beth Peor. Where was Beth Peor? It was inside Ruth's land, which was Reuben's land. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. Once again, here's the Jordan River, here's Jericho, here's the plains of Moab. The Jordan River, here's Jericho, Shittim. Remember that word, Peor, Mount Nebo. All of this is inside of the land of Reuben. Joshua 13. And verse 27, and in the valley of, I'm going to fast forward to the main part. And Moses gave inheritance unto half the tribe of Manasseh, verse 29. And this was the possession of half the tribe of the children of Manasseh. And then verse 32, these are the countries which Moses did attribute for inheritance in the plains of Moab on the other side of Jordan, east of Jericho. It's all over the scriptures where this was located. Here's Manasseh, here's Gad, here's Reuben, here's Mount Nebo. Let's fast forward. And from Bamoth in the valley. Now remember that this is Numbers 21. And it says, and from Bamoth in the valley, that is the country of Moab. I thought the country of Moab wasn't in the book of Numbers, to the top of Pisgah. Well, let's keep looking. There's Baal Peor, here's Nebo, here's Bamoth. Where is that located? In the area of Reuben. Here's the ford of Jericho, Pisgah, Hermon, plains of Moab. Plains of Moab, Bamoth, in the land of Reuben. So what we see here is that the country of Moab, the land of Moab, and the plains of Moab is all in the same geographical location. Here's another dictionary entry. A place north of the Arnon, Bamoth Baal, in the tribe of Reuben. That's where it said that the country of Moab was. You don't believe me? Let's take a look at the Blue Letter Bible. You type in country of Moab, Numbers 21 and 20. And from Bamoth in the valley, that is the country of Moab to the top of Pisgah. Well, that's the same exact entry in Ruth 1 and 1, Ruth 1 and 2, Ruth 1 and 6, Ruth 1 and 22, because it's all in the same location. You don't believe me? In Ruth 2 and 6, the Moabitish came out the country of Moab. Well, what's that word there for country? It's Shadah, field, land, cultivated field, plain. Why is it so important for it to be a plain? Because in Numbers 32, now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. And when they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Gilead, that behold, the place, the place was a place for cattle. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spake unto Moses and to Eleazar the priest and unto the princes of the congregation, saying, Artaroth, Dibon, and Jazer, and Nimrah, and Heshbon, Eliah, Shabam, and Nebo, and Beon. Even the country which the Lord smote before the congregation of Israel is a land for cattle, and thy servants have cattle. Where did the cattle need to be? In the plains. What's another word for the country of Moab? The plains of Moab, also a cultivated field. So when you go and you look, all of this took place in the land of Reuben. The country of Moab, the land of Moab, and the plains of Moab are all the same. In context, in geography, there is no getting away from that. Body bag, I land.
And that is the end. Hey, just go on mute real quick, Cap.
I lowered my mic. I'm trying to switch over, but you can mute me.
All right, I'll mute you. All right, that's the end of round one. That's the end of round one. Everybody continue to ping, continue to share, continue to ping, continue to share. This is the Versus, the best debate platform on Clubhouse. We are about to start round two. Round two. Corey, you got something?
The only thing I was going to say is I believe, I'm not sure, Captain Kyle will have to let me know. I think does he have to stay off mute or for YouTube to listen or no?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that. Other than that, you good to go, y'all. What's up?
No, they can hear when I'm on mute. You're good to go.
All right, come. So, all right, it's the beginning of round two. Halal, flash your mic if you have the time. All praises. Darash, this is round two. Let's go.
God, all praise to the Most High. And notice, and this is where you have to understand when people are deflecting, right? We talking about Ruth, the Moabitess. This nigga went to one verse in Ruth chapter 2 and verse 6. That's all that he brought out. That's number one. I'm going to stay in Ruth, and I'm going to keep hammering this shit. In, right? Now, number two, I never said that the word country wasn't in Numbers. I never said that. I said when you read the country of Moab, it's not the same as the land of Moab. I mean, the plains of Moab, excuse me. Now, watch this. He said Moabite is not the same as Moabitess, right? There's two things I'm going to deal with that. Because he said, every time we talk about that, the ISH, that refers to being like something, but except when it appears with Ruth, right? Okay, watch this. I want to read Genesis chapter 46, and I'm going to read verse 8. And these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt, Jacob and his sons, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. The sons of Reuben, Hanoch and Phalu and Hezron and Carmi. The sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zahor and Shaul, the son of a Canaanitish woman. But we know that's talking about a Canaanite. We know that's talking about a heathen, right? So just because it says ish all the time, we have to contextualize things, right? So then he goes on to say, the word is Moabia. Okay, perfect, right? So when we read Genesis, when we read Ruth, chapter, where is that? Women of Moab. I think it's Ruth chapter 1 and verse 6. The book of Ruth, chapter 1 and verse, I believe it's verse 6. It says, let me see. The country of Moab, Salakia. Pull it up like this. Ruth chapter 1 and verse 4, I'm sorry. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of one was Orpah, the name of the other was Ruth, and they dwelled there about 10 years. So his point is, when you see that word women of Moab, not a direct descendant of Moab. They use the word known as Moabia or Moabite or Moabite, right? And that is, where are you? Where are you? Here it is. Moabite H4125. Let me go ahead and put that in my PTR so y'all can go ahead and see it. This is the word right here, H4125. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. Here's the definition. It says, a Moabite or Moabitess, a descendant from Moab, a woman of Moab, a Moabite, Moabite-ish, or Moabitess. Now, his point is, it doesn't say daughter of Moab. This word right here, Moabia, is referencing an inhabitant of Moab. Here's the problem with that. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 11. 1 Kings chapter 11. And I'm going to read verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites. Damn, ain't that what it said in Ruth? Women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. Now, if you go and you look up that same Hebrew word, you're going to see the same thing. H4125, Moabia. Again, I'm going to read the definition. A Moabite or Moabitess, i.e. the descendant from Moab. A woman of Moab, Moabitish, Moabitess. So now the question is this. If this is women of Moab, but it's not really a Moabite, maybe it's like Ruth from the tribe of Reuben, but laying in the plains of Moab. Why are they strange women? Why are they strange women? Please tell me why they're strange women. Brother's just talking about body bag. He might as well stick himself in that damn body bag and zip it up, roll himself down the hill. He done lost his damn mind. Now, let's go back to Ruth, because that's what we're talking about, Ruth. So if we're talking about Ruth, we should be reading the book of Ruth. Ruth chapter 1, and I'm going to read verse 16. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go. Where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people.
5 minutes left.
And thy God, my God. Again, they're all different tribes, but they all one people. It's all one nation. Why is she saying, no, your people are going to be my people? They are the same people. I guarantee you, Brother Contazar will say this himself. Tazariah, though I say he's from Judah, that's still my brother. That's my people. I can guarantee you that he does that because we are all one nation. We are all one people. So now the question is, what is Ruth saying here? Now, let's jump up to, what is that, verse 8? No. Let me find it. Salakia, let me find it. Verse 10. And they said unto her, surely we will return with thee unto thy people. Salakia, where is it? It might have been verse. And Ruth said, entreat me, yada, yada, yada. Oh, I'm sorry, verse 15. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. So I'm going to keep beating this dead horse. Go back with your sister, return to your people and those gods over there. So one of two things is going on. Either she's saying return to her and her judges, which wouldn't make sense because I showed you in the book of Judges, each judge judged all of Israel. I showed you that. Now, or she's saying go back over there and commit idolatry in the land of Reuben with your sister and go back to your gods. She said, no, I don't want to go back to my gods. I want to go to with you and your God. So one of two things is happening. Either she was telling a Moabite to go back to her people and her God, or she was telling a Reubenite to go back to her judges. But again, that would not coincide with the rest of the book of Judges. So again, I'm just going to hang out in the book of Ruth. Then we talked about how she was purchased as property. In Ruth, I'll read it again. Ruth chapter 4 and verse 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off among his brethren, and from the gate of his place ye are witness to this day. Then the brother says something along the lines of, there's no way that there are heathens in the line of Christ, so on and so forth. Okay, that's fine. Now I want to go and read the book of Matthew, chapter 1, and I want to read verse 5. Matthew chapter 1 and verse 5. And Salmon begat Boaz of Rechab, and Boaz begat Obed of Ruth, and Obed begat Jesse. Now the question is, well, who is Rechab? Simple question. Who is Rechab? Then the second thing is, again, we just dancing in the book of Ruth over and over and over. And he's going to have to come over here and explain these things in the book of Ruth. Thy people, my people. Thy God, my God. Since I got a couple of minutes, watch this. This is what I want to pull out. Ruth chapter 4. Salakia. Let me hurry up and grab this. And I know I ain't got much time. Ruth chapter 4 and verse 13. Watch this. Verse 13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the women said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which have not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. And he shall be unto thee a restorer of life and a nourisher of thine own age. For thy daughter-in-law, Salakia, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, hath borne him. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. And the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Here's the problem. If Ruth is an Israelite, she can raise this child up herself. If Ruth is an Israelite, a child would have been born to Ruth because it was her husband that was dead. It was her who lay with the nearest of kin to raise up seed to her husband. She could have easily nursed that child. Why was the child born unto Naomi? Why was the child taken by Naomi from Ruth? And why did she raise that child up? Well, we did have an incident in the book of Nehemiah. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm going to try to get to it. Time. All good.
Okay, that's the end of your round 2. The end of your round 2. Flash the mic when you got the time allowed. All praises. Kataza, I know you also work on the 2 first. I don't know if you want to get that ready. You don't even got to unmute.
I don't even need a PowerPoint from this point on. That was, terrible. Let me know when you're ready.
Well, your time starts when you speak.
All right, let's go. So I just want to show y'all, he did not address anything that I said concerning the geographical location that this story takes place. And in context to what I said, Moabitish means, it would mean an inhabitant of the land. If this land was always called the land of Moab, if this was the plains of Moab, and if Mount Nebo was a Moabite town like I showed, then what would Ruth be called? She would be an inhabitant of, just like Elijah was a Tishbite. Like you see that we always called each other from the land. So you didn't prove anything. That's the problem. You didn't even rebuttal anything that I said. That was a terrible round, bro. And now if we move on, here's the beauty of it, right? Notice that his main point, right, all has to do with thy people, thy people. And he keeps going to the story of Judges. Why? Because in Ruth 1:1, it says that this took place. Let's see right here. I'm just going to take my time with this round. Ruth 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab. We showed that that's in the land of Reuben. He, his wife, and his 2 sons. So he keeps going to Judges, but let me show you what he missed in Judges. Remember what he kept saying? God's people, thy people, aren't they the same people? Well, maybe they would be if Israel was a united monarchy. Israel did not become a united monarchy until Saul. The kingdom split and Saul and David's people went to war with each other. David had to fight a civil war to unite Israel. And then there was a time of peace under Solomon's rule because he made his enemies his footstool. Let me show you what it was really like in Israel, because y'all believe everything is kumbaya, my Lord, when you don't understand that there was civil wars that were fought inside the land of Israel. This is Judges 12:1. And the men of Ephraim, that's Israelites, right, gathered themselves together and went northward and said unto Jephthah, a judge of Israel, wherefore passedst thou over us to fight against the children of Ammon, and didst call against us to go with thee? We will burn thine house upon thee with fire. And Jephthah said unto them, I and my people. Whoa, what are we talking about here? I and my people. What, Ephraimites aren't Jephthah's people? I thought you said the judges ruled over all Israel at that time. And Jephthah said unto them is who? Them is Ephraimites. I and my people were at a great strife with the children of Ammon. And when I called you, ye delivered me not out of their hands. Why did he put a separation if they were supposed to be brothers, Darash? Why don't you answer that question? Because that's how we talk. Because there's something called tribalism. Because there's something called an inheritance where the majority of the tribes lived inside their own areas and inside their own zones. So as a result, they went to war with each other. And when I saw that ye delivered me not, I put my life in mine hands, not my brother's hands, and passed over against the children of Ammon. And the Lord delivered them into my hand. Wherefore ye come up against me on this day to fight against me? And Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. And the men of Gilead smote Ephraim because they said, ye Gileadites. Why aren't they calling them Manassites? Why aren't they called? Look, who lived in Gilead? Wasn't it the tribe of Manasseh and Gad? Didn't they live up there? Didn't we see that on the map? Why isn't it calling them by Israelites? Because we call each other by the land we live in. Are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites and among the Manassites. Now it's mentioning the Manassites. And they had a civil war against each other because we were not united during the time of Judges. When you go and you read the scriptures, you find out that there were judges inside of every gate of Israel. And those judges were wise men out of the people of Israel, and they would judge their own. So now I'll give you an example too, because even when he wanted to turn around and say these gods and those gods and this and that, you don't know what you're talking about. This is Exodus 22:28. When it says, thou shalt not revile the gods. I thought we were supposed to destroy fake idols. What could that word gods mean? Nor curse the ruler of thy people, meaning the judges were called Elohim, which some people pronounce as Elohim. These are the rulers who were inside the gate. So that's a lifetime. So when you see her say, your God shall be my God, first of all, Elohim or Elohim is plural. They did the same thing in Genesis 1:1. And we all know that when it said, let us make man in our image, the reason why you see Elohim through the whole chapter is because of Colossians, the first chapter, when it says that Christ made everything. Who did he make everything with? The angels. This is what we always teach. That's why it said, let us make man in our image, because Elohim or Elohim is plural. These gods or these judges are the judges at that time, because when did the story of Ruth take place? During the time of Judges, when Jephthah said, I and my people, and separated himself from the Ephraimites. The same way Ruth would have separated herself from Judites. The same way she would have traveled back to the land of Judah with Naomi and been a stranger in that land, because Israelites are strangers when they travel to another tribe's inheritance. So let's see what other garbage you said. I mean, I'm still not going to get off the fact that you said the country of Moab is not in Numbers, and I showed it and you said nothing. But here's the last thing. When we go into Leviticus, the 25th chapter, this just goes to show you, you don't know the Bible. You don't know the law. Because one, this is what happened inside the book of Ruth. First of all, Elimelech was poor. So he leased off his land, because Israel does not sell their land. So for example, Leviticus 25:40,
Let me come. Matter of fact, let's go right here, 47. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of thy stranger's family, after he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him. What does it mean to redeem? It means one of his brethren would buy him. Why didn't you read that part? Well, matter of fact, let's go up a little further. Verse 39. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor and be sold unto thee. Who's being sold? Thy brother. So when you turn around, you don't even know what's going on with the transaction. When we drop down even further in Leviticus 25, it says, if thy brother be waxen poor and hath sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. Well, here's what happened. Elimelech, he died. Women cannot inherit land. So what happens is it goes to the sons. The son die. There's no inheritance now. Naomi goes back with Ruth. They go to the nearest of kinmen to her husband, which is Boaz. Boaz was not the nearest of kin. He was the second nearest of kin. But because he decided to marry this woman and raise an heir, he had to purchase the land from his fallen brother Elimelech, who sold the land, for it to be redeemed. So in order for that marriage to be verified, these people who sold their inheritance had to be redeemed by their brother. I thought you said Israelites couldn't sell themselves. He wasn't buying her like a slave. He was redeeming them from the debt that her father-in-law caused, so that this way the child they have could be raised up inside that inheritance, because that's what happened in Israel. Israel never even owned the land of Israel. The Lord owned the land of Israel. Let's go up 2 verses. Verse 23. The land shall not be sold.
1 minute left.
Perfect. The land shall not be sold forever. You can't really sell land. For the land is mine, for ye are strangers and sojourners with me. That's all Israel. And how should we treat a stranger or sojourner? With brotherhood. And in all the land of your possession, ye shall grant a redemption for the land. Why? Because the land don't belong to you in the first place. So any family member can come and redeem that land at any time, so we don't oppress each other. The story of Ruth is the practical application of being kind to strangers that are your brothers, and how inheritance is supposed to pass down to the nearest of kin. Body bag. I land.
All right, that's the end of round 2. That is the end of round 2. Once again, follow the mods. Follow Captain Katazar from ISUPK. Follow Daraj from the True Nation Israelite Congregation. All right, we're about to halab. Just press your mic. You got the time ready? All right, just reiteration of the rules. You get a maximum 2 minutes to answer a question. You cannot. Daraj goes first, so Katazar, you cannot ask a question, even if it's rhetorical. You need to answer the question direct. If Daraj asks a yes or no question, you must say yes or no before you expound. Everybody follow the Versus platform. This is the, not the, add an E. This is the best debate platform on Clubhouse. Your time starts when you start speaking, Daraj.
All praise to the Most High. First and foremost, before I ask any questions, I want to deal with something again, because it's clearly you don't listen. I never said that the word country was not in the book of Numbers. That's not what I said. I said when it references the plains of Moab, and you're reading about what's in the book of Ruth, these are 2 different things. Those are even 2 different words. That was the point that I made. God's eyes don't listen, or he's just intentionally being disingenuous. I don't know. And then round 2, I didn't have to rebut anything. I could have continued on or rebut it. Again, I don't have to deal with the land information because we talk about Ruth. Let's go to Ruth and read Ruth. So now let's get into it. You referenced Judges chapter 12 with Jephthah. Jephthah was still a judge over all Israel. that it says that he judged Israel. Read Judges 12:7. Now, here's my question. Kataza, yes or no? Were Orpah and Ruth blood descendants of Moab?
No.
Okay. Is it now? My follow-up question: is it because of the word that was utilized there, Moabia?
Okay. No. Moabia is letting you know that they are inhabitants of the land. And in the land, they were not below the Arnon River, inside of Moab's actual inheritance. So therefore, where you're seeing these people is after Moses conquered this land, is after Joshua conquered the land, and we're now in the book of Judges after they had settled. Geographically, they would not be and could not be. I proved that earlier.
Okay, that's in your question. I mean, in your answer. So my question was, so because of that word Moabia, which means that they're an inhabitant, and through whatever non-biblical sources that you use, and never came to Ruth, you're saying that they are just inhabitants of Moab, correct?
According to the context of that word, which I'm not sure if you were watching the, I can't refrain from, I was almost a rhetorical question, but this is a statement that I want to make. When I went live, I went on to the PowerPoint, and in my PowerPoint, I actually pulled up the blue letter reference and showed the context in Ruth 2 in that chapter. So as a result, you saw the only two contexts it could have been. And I lined it up with the context it would have to be geographically. So I actually did use a biblical source, was inside the book of Ruth, and lined it up perfectly.
Okay. So now my question is this. Are these particular individuals descendants of Moab or just inhabitants of Moab? First Kings chapter 11. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, the women of the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, the Zidonians, and the Hittites. Are those inhabitants of Moab in the land of Reuben, or are those talking about actual heathens?
So we know that the difference between the two is that Solomon sinned. These are actual daughters of, these are actual heathens. And we know because he started worshiping their gods like Kamash. However, when I went and pulled it up and showed that it says an inhabitant of the land of, or a citizen of Moab, it's A or B in the definition in the same chapter I pulled in the book of Ruth. So it would be a different context because context is key.
Okay. So let's go ahead and go to Ruth chapter 1 because I want to deal with these. That was more of a minor point. I want to go to Ruth chapter 1. Ruth chapter 1. Let's talk verse 14. Actually, Salaki, I want to deal with something else because I don't want to run out of time. So what is, because you talked about the strangers, I believe you pulled it out in the Torah. What is the Hebrew word for strangers when you were referencing us being strangers or us dealing with the strangers in the actual Torah?
Well, there's several different words for stranger. So it would depend on the verse that you. I'm sorry, I wasn't done answering.
Okay, I was going to clarify for you. Go ahead.
Well, you didn't have to clarify yet because I wasn't done answering.
You got it.
Appreciate you. So there are several different words for stranger. And once again, each word is going to be utilized inside of a different context. So you would have to clarify what verse specifically you're talking about, and then we could discuss the context.
And that's why I wanted to clarify, right? So I'll give you one. Let's go to Exodus chapter, I think it's 23. I'll do it Exodus 23. Exodus chapter 23, and I believe it's verse 9. And it reads, Salaki, here it is. It says, also thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for ye know the heart of a stranger, seeing you were strangers in the land of Egypt. So is that referencing a heathen?
Okay, that is representing a stranger, and a stranger in the context of someone you don't know.
So it's not referencing another nation.
Depending on the context, that word gar could reference another nation, or it could reference an Israelite.
Okay. So now here's my question, right? In the book of Ruth, when we read Ruth chapter 2 and verse 10, it says, "Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing as I am a stranger?" Right? Now, this particular word, stranger, is nakrai. And it says foreign, alien, foreigner, foreign woman, harlot, unknown, unfamiliar. Then it goes in, that's the biblical usage. Now, the actual definition, strange in a variety of degrees and applications, foreign, non-relative, adulterous, different, or wonderful, alien, foreigner, outlandish, stranger, woman. Now, when we read in Torah, they use gar a lot. But in Ruth, when it talked about stranger, this is a completely different word and it's very specific. So are you saying that this word could also mean, well, no, she's just from a different land?
Not only am I saying that that could mean that they're from a different land or a different tribe's inheritance, but that can directly be associated with an Israelite.
That's horrible. Okay. So let's go ahead and where is it? Ruth chapter 1, where it says, and they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, and Ruth clave unto her. And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. So where it says she's returned to her gods, what is that referencing?
It is referencing directly, for example, what I had read earlier. I'm gonna read two scriptures just so that this way you'd be able to get the context, and hopefully that's within my 2-minute time. Earlier, I read inside of Exodus 22 and 28, where it says that thou shalt not revile the gods nor curse the rulers, because Ruth was written during the book of Judges. And also, when you read, for example, in give me 1 second just to make sure that I want to make sure I quote the proper scripture here. Bear with me. And then just let me know if I go over the time. It's not that big a deal. That when you read inside of, for example, Exodus 21 and 6, that word judges is also Elohim. So what you see is that judges has been Elohim, and in proper context, that's talking about the rulers of thy people. So she was going back to her land where there would be different judges at the gate.
Were you done? Those are your two scriptures?
Yeah. I paraphrased one. I don't know if you want me to read it directly. That's up to you.
I was just making sure. Okay. Yeah. So now my question is, in the time of Judges, when we read the book of Judges, how many judges were judging Israel at a time?
Okay, well, you had different judges that were all throughout those times that were raised up for specific purposes. But I'm sorry, you want to say something?
Oh, no, I'm saying, my bad.
No sweat. You know what I'm saying? But what you see is that, for example, Deuteronomy, hold on, let me get there with you. I'm going to read this one verbatim. So this is Deuteronomy 16, and I'm going to go down to verse 18. Judges and officers shall thou make in all thy gates, which the Most High thy power giveth thee throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. So now there isn't a consensus.
10 minutes left.
Okay, there isn't a consensus of how many judges that there are, but we do know that there are judges in all the gates of all the tribes of Israel, as laid down by Moses in Deuteronomy.
Okay. The problem with that is Deuteronomy is not the time of judges, and it said that they may do just judgment, and clearly there was an issue with righteousness going on, which is why we kept going into captivity. Now, when we read really quickly, and then we'll get back to it, I want to read Judges chapter 4, because there's a few of them that we can get. I'm just going to double back to one. Judges chapter 4 and verse 5. And it says, and Deborah, Salakia, verse 5, and she dwelt under a palm tree, talking about Deborah, between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment, right? Now I'm going to go over to Judges 15 and 16 really quickly. Judges chapter 15. And I want, we'll drop down to verse 20. We know that this is talking about Samson. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. So we see that the judges were only one at a time judging all of Israel. I agree that in the time of, when we were being righteous with Moses, he set that up. But we're in the time of judges. We're not talking about this particular time with Moses. We passed Moses, we passed Joshua. We're now in the time of judges. So that's irrelevant. Now, another question. Here's a good question. Why did Ruth give up her baby when it was said, and why did her sisters say that a son was born to Naomi?
That's actually a very good question. So the reason being is because, one, that's Naomi's grandson. You understand? Like, that baby is Naomi's grandmother. I don't know if you have kids, Darash, but when my child was born, my son's mother was in the room, and after the baby was born, it went in my arms, it went in her arms, it went in the nurse's arms. Because I don't know if you're familiar with childbirth. Oh, that was a rhetorical question, Salakia. But the point being is, when it also says that a child was born onto her, this has to do with the law of kinsmen and inheritance that I read earlier. So I'm going to read it again. So I'm going to go back to Leviticus, the 25th chapter, and then explain. So this is Leviticus 25 and 25. If thy brother be waxen poor and hath sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. So what happens is, Boaz is the nearest of kin who's stepping up into the role. That's why when you read in Ruth, the 4th chapter, they had a council, you know what I'm saying, where Boaz went and sat down in front of the elders at the gate. And they went and had a talk about who was the nearest kinsman who would redeem the inheritance. So the child that was being laid down was going to make sure that that land never left Naomi's remnant of her family, because the only one left in Naomi's family was Ruth. So Ruth went, married him, and now that child that is her grandson is going to inherit the land that once belonged to Naomi's husband, Elimelech, so that this way that name could live on and it never leaves their family, because the Lord would not cause us to oppress each other and lose our inheritance.
That's horrible. So, one, yes, I do. I actually have 2 children. Now, my question was, why was it that a child was born unto Naomi? When you have children, when your wife had your children, and you birthed that child, she birthed that child, did you say a child was born unto my mother? Or is that your seed, your rib raised that child? Or did you hand it off to your mother to nurse and raise that child? That's what I'm asking.
Okay, so the first thing that I tried to do was show you the that law. Now let me show you what happens in the law of, hold on one second. This is Deuteronomy 25 and 5. There's 2 laws that's at play. If brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no children, Elimelech had children. His son died, though, and the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take him to wife. And when we keep reading, and it says, my husband's brother refused to raise up a brother a name in Israel, he will not perform the duty of a husband. Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak unto him, and he shall stand it and say, I shall not take her. Because this is what happens if someone does take her and if someone doesn't take her. And that happened in the book of Ruth, where the nearest of kin didn't take her and took off his shoes. And that was like the token of virginity, because it wasn't normal for you to not have your shoes. If somebody had your shoes, you were dead or got your ass beat. So this is the proof of, look, I have his shoes. I was given away. I didn't deal with the nearest of kin. So this is about the inheritance that's passed down. So as I stated earlier, the reason why it goes down to Naomi is because Ruth could not inherit the land. The nearest ownership of the land would have to go to whoever the senior is, which would be Naomi. The inheritance was going through Elimelech to his son. The sons died. So now Naomi is making sure that her husband's lineage stays on by going to the nearest of kin and setting up that marriage with Ruth. So the reason why it goes to Naomi is because it's really Elimelech's land, and she's the last remaining heir, but she can't inherit land as a woman in Israel.
So that still doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, once Boaz had birthed this particular son, the land would go to that particular man, and Boaz still had purchased that property. So the land is still within the confines of that family. So that's a stretch, but that's perfectly fine. Where is where are we? There was a point that you made that I completely forgot to write down. It's perfectly fine though. Let me go over to the book of Ruth, chapter 1. Salakia. I can't find that particular precept. That's perfectly fine. I think that is all the questions that I'm going to ask the brother. It was a ton of filibustering, but it's perfectly fine. But yeah, I'll yield the remainder of my time. I probably only got like 60 seconds left.
Moderation.
All right. So, Brother Darash yielded his time.
I was talking on mute. Yeah, hello.
Khan. The Brother Darash yielded his time. So now we are going to go to the second part of round 3. Captain Katazai will put Darash on the hot seat. Just a repeat of the rules. Yes or no questions must be answered yes or no. Darash will get up to 2 minutes to respond to the question. When the 2 minutes is up, if he takes them, I will say time up on the question. I will say time. I will call time at 10 minutes left. I will call time at 1 minute left. And then if there is a question on the table, there will be allowed the last response. And then that will conclude the third round. The time will start when Cap starts speaking.
Darash, my brother. Let me see here. Let me see how. Is King David an Israelite? Yes or no?
Yes.
I am in Psalms, the 69th chapter and the 8th verse. I'm going to read it. I am become a stranger unto my brethren and an alien unto my mother's children. Did King David say this? Yes or no?
Let me get to right now.
Take your time.
No problem. 69 and what?
This is 69 and 8. Is this King David's words in Psalms?
God.
It is King David's words. Did King David call himself a stranger?
Yeah.
Did he call himself an alien?
Yes.
That word alien, is it the same word that was used to describe Ruth?
I'm not sure. I have to go to the Hebrew to check.
Let's go and check together.
No problem. Psalm 69 and verse. What was the verse?
Verse was 8.
Verse 8.
So now we see stranger is zawar, but what is the word for alien?
Says Necry.
Is that the same word that was used to describe Ruth?
Con.
So can this word be used to describe an Israelite?
Yep.
Earlier you said it was terrible when I said that this word can be used to describe an Israelite.
You never said that this word can be used to describe an Israelite because I never asked you that question.
You actually did. You said,
No.
is this about, everyone can go and check the replay, and what you will find is that he said it was terrible when I said that this word used for Ruth was used to describe an Israelite. I know Corey is chuckling right now because he has a memory like an iron trap. I cannot wait for y'all to see the replays and to see that he is sadly mistaken on that point. Now let's move on to, is interracial marriage a sin?
We hold that interracial marriage is a sin over at True Nation. So it depends if you ask.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking, you know, anyone else. I'm asking Darash of True Nation. So yes or no, is interracial marriage a sin?
We hold that interracial marriage is a sin.
I'm sorry. I said yes or no.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Is sleeping with a Moabite a sin?
Yes.
Where was the brother Boaz punished for sleeping with a heathen?
Let's go to the book of Judges. The book of Judges, chapter 21, and verse 25. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. So when we read in the book of Judges, for example, when you go to the story of Samson did a number of things Nazarites were not supposed to do. It's just chronicling it. It doesn't say whether or not he got punished for it. It also doesn't say whether or not Boaz got punished for what he did. So asking me that question, of course, it's a history. It's recollecting history. So asking me that question doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you're saying that he did not get punished?
No, I'm saying that all the book of Ruth was doing, just like the rest of Judges, was chronicling the information, and it does not say whether he did or whether he did not. That's what I'm saying.
Was Samson punished for dealing with a heathen?
No, Samson was punished. Samson was, what's the word, beguiled when he was dealing with the heathen.
So dealing with a heathen did not get him into any sort of trouble or discipline with God.
Dealing with the heathen is when he gave away the secret to his strength, and he was tricked, and his hair was cut, and he was placed he was placed as a slave to the Philistines.
All right. Well,
you can't. But you.
Oh, I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
But hold on, I'm not done.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please, brother.
But you can't sit here and say, because you read all through the book, you read Judges chapter, I think it's 14 or 15, and you see there was a number of things he did, from touching a dead body to eating honey out of a dead lion. All of that is not what it did not say. That's what he was punished for. As a matter of fact, the issue, or when you read the history of Judges, when his parents were like, well, why don't you go and get an Israelite woman? They said the scriptures say that they did not know it was of God. So all of this was what God wanted to do anyway. So I'm not going to sit here and say because of what Samson did, he was judged for it, because the Most High had that plan from the very beginning. We can get that as a matter of fact. Let's go to the book of Judges. Judges, what is it, 14? No, I think it's Judges 12. Let me pull it up. Judges 14, Salaki. Judges 14 and verse 4. And it says, verse 3, it says, then his father and his mother said unto him, is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all thy people, among all my people, Salakia, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?
Time on the question.
So with that being said, now, and I'd like to thank you for cutting yourself by bringing up what Samson's father said, because Samson's father also and his mother said, can't you find yourself a woman of your people and of your tribe? Why must you go on to the uncircumcised Philistine? Because even during the time of Judges, we weren't supposed to deal with heathen. Numbers 25:1, and Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
And they called the people onto sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat and bow down to their gods. And Israel joined himself onto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. So while no one came directly to police Samson, as you said, the Lord always judged people. And I'm going to make my point after I read on a little bit more. And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of thy people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one of his men that was joined unto Baal Peor. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought into his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, and the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into that tent and thrust it through both of them, the man of Israel and the woman, through her belly. So the plague was stayed away from the children of Israel. Here we see that the children of Israel get punished when they commit interracial relations. We see Samson was punished. So you mean to tell me that Boaz gets glorified and there is no stain on his name for dealing with the heathen?
I can answer.
Please, that was a question.
Okay, perfect. So now to the first part of your question, when you read verse 4, it says, but his father judges. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. So again, this was of the Lord. The Lord set all of this up. That's number one. Number two, it does not say that he was glorified for all that he did. It said that he married this woman. They said, okay, cool. And then she had this child. And now we both agree. I'm almost positive we both agree on this. You are what your father is. So if Boaz is an Israelite and Ruth is a Moabite, then their son is still an Israelite. So to sit here and make this argument again, it doesn't say whether he was judged or whether he was not judged. But we do know when we read about Samson's whole story played out the way the Most High God wanted it to play out. Also, what you read in Numbers 20, the issue was that these individuals started going spiritually whoring. They got put to death because they started worshiping all of those other gods as well. So let's not act like it was just, oh, it was this happened and then they were put to death. You continued to read on. The idolatry was the biggest part. It wasn't, oh, well, they committed interracial marriage. Now, boom, they're put to death. Because if that's the case, then half of us, because that goes into the doctrine of a mamzer, and half of us, these people will say we are not legit Israelites because our parents are not, or some of our mothers on our mother's side are not Israelites. So it's
10 minutes left.
Because you are what your father is.
Did you land?
Yeah, I landed. I think you said that was it.
Okay, so I'm going to read two things out of Deuteronomy, and then after that, I'm going to ask you a question based on Ruth. Deuteronomy 23:3, an Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever. Deuteronomy 2:9, and the Lord said unto me, distress not the Moabites, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give thee of their land for a possession, because I have given Ar unto the children of Lot for a possession. With that being said, it's clear that it was all throughout our law to stay away from these people. Boaz had not only said, if there is a nearest kinman than I will redeem him, but he went before the elders. So this is my question. You mean to tell me that Boaz was so zealous of the law that he would keep the law of kinsmen, but he would sleep with a Moabite and sin against God in that manner?
Let's go back to Judges. We're going to read the same verse. And in those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. This is just a recollection of the history in the book of Judges. So you're asking me a question about a man that I can't speak to right now. Did he feel that way? You would have to ask Boaz if he felt that way. But I do know this. In the time of Judges, people were doing what they felt was right. And we've seen that a number of times in Israel and in biblical history where we thought we were doing the right thing. Take, for example, the man who tried to catch the ark after we had just gotten it back. He thought he was doing the right thing, but he ended up getting in trouble. He ended up dying for it because he wasn't supposed to touch it. Now, this is simply saying that Boaz performed the duty to her brother's wife. He had a child. That child was Obed, and then that child was David's father. Obed. Then he begat Jesse, who had David. So I mean, it's right here.
You landed?
I landed.
So the point of Judges was to judge Israel. You're saying everyone was just doing what they wanted. There was no repercussions. I believe you're butchering the understanding of that scripture horribly. So, for example, you went to Judges, the 4th chapter, 3 or 4 times inside of what you were stating. So now, Judges 4 and 4, and Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Israel at that time. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the mount of Ephraim, and the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. So this is just one example that you pulled earlier. So you're telling me that the children of Israel did not listen to her in matters of morality?
Nope, that's not what I said. So when you read the book of Judges, every time the judge died, what happened? Oh, Salaki, I can't ask you questions.
No, you can't.
let me tell you. Every time the judge died, that the children of Israel did what they thought was right. So my point is, it says this is when the time when the judges were ruling the earth, and the judges would rule for a certain time, then they would die, and Israel would be just doing what they thought was right. So it doesn't say in the book of Ruth what judge was in place, if there was a judge in place, what the situation was going on. Again, it's just a chronicling, it's a recollection of the history. And again, we have a number of examples in the actual book of Ruth, which you have yet to touch, of proving that this woman is actually a Moabite. I'm landing.
This is how I know you don't know the Bible at all, because if I go to Ruth, the 4th chapter, it says, then went Boaz to the gate and sat him down there. And behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by unto him and said, ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down there. And he turned aside and sat. And he took the men, the elders of the city, and said, sit ye down. And they sat down. Moses established this, that there were elders in the gates. This is a court hearing that they're having right now. That's what the elders do. They judge matters. And he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land, which was our brother Elimelech's. And I thought to advertise thee by saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people, because this is literally how we had court. This is a legal matter so that everybody in the city would know. And once again, this man was so zealous, he went before the elders. You mean to tell me nobody turned around and told him not to sleep with a heathen? When we die for sleeping with heathens, when we have all the laws against it, so we just picking and choosing what laws we want. I see that's what you mean by that scripture. So in this same chapter, right, which is the verse that I'm looking for right now. Hold on one second. Earlier, right? This is exactly what I wanted, right? And Naomi, this is Ruth 4 and 16, right? And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse onto it. What's that word for nurse?
Let's look it up.
Please.
Ruth 4 and verse 16. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse. Aman.
What does Aman mean?
Interchangeable, Salak, here it is properly. To build up or support, to foster as a parent or a nurse, figuratively to render, firm or be faithful, to trust or believe, to be to be permanent or quiet, morally to be true or certain. Hence, assurance, believe, bring up, establish, fail, be faithful, long continuous, steadfast, sure, surely, trust, trusty, verified, nurse, nursing, father, put, trust, turn to the right.
Okay, so now this is my question to you, right? Where inside of here, right, does it say, based off of this definition, that she kept the child permanently? Because that's what you said earlier.
To build up or support, to foster as a parent or nurse. What is one of the other definitions? To bring up. So where it said, when it says, and what did you read? Verse 15.
Mhm.
And he, Salakia, verse 16. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. So the definition here clearly can be stated as to bring them up, to build them up, to foster as a parent. Verse 17 then continues on and says, and the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed, and his father begat Jesse, the father of David. So in addition to it saying that she would be the one to build this man up, to raise this man as a child or to foster them as a parent, it then continues on to say, after this child was had, it was born unto Naomi, not born unto Ruth or born unto Boaz or even born unto the dead son of Ruth or born unto Elimelech. It says, or Abimelech. It says born unto Naomi. So that's where we get that from.
Boom. I'm glad that you said that, because now when you continue to look at any of the definitions, it also says figuratively or to render, to be faithful, trust, believe. And even when it says permanently quiet, it means morally true or certain. Why? Because this was going to be her inheritance as her grandchild. Nowhere is it this child being ripped away from Ruth at all. You understand? This is the inheritance of Elimelech being passed down. So it's like you use the
1 minute
context
left.
according directly to what you want. So then here's, with the 1 minute, here's my last question then, right?
Mhm.
So you never mentioned anything when it comes down to the geography, right? So earlier we talked about inside the book of Numbers, right, where it talked about the country of Moab in the book of Numbers. So this is Numbers 21 and 20, the country of Moab. Now, is this in the land of Moab below the Arnon River, or is this in the land of Reuben?
Let's go to Ruth chapter 1, and I'm going to deal with that. In verse 15, it says, and behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee or return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go. And where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God, my God. So she was making a distinction between her gods and this particular God that Naomi was talking about. So yes, I'm going to hold that this is talking about below the Arnon River in the country, in the actual country of Moab.
I appreciate you.
That is the conclusion of the third round. We're now going to move into the conclusion, where each individual will be allowed to present 2 minutes to the audience on what they feel like they presented. Today, scriptures are allowed. Scriptures are allowed. So we're going to go Darash first. Darash, you will go first. Your time will start when you begin to speak.
God, all praise to the Most High. So we saw that when you read the book of Ruth, there's a number of things that happen in the book of Ruth, right? Even when you read about what is that? Leviticus 25. When you read a little further up, you're talking about indentured servitude versus actually being purchased. He said when you sell yourself to someone, yeah, you're selling yourself as an employee, you're working off a debt. But Ruth was not sold selling herself as trying to work off a debt. She was sold just like property. So we've gone through the scriptures. We saw in the book of Ruth that the Most High visited his people while she was in the country of Moab. But if all of Israel was, if that was in the particular land, then you wouldn't have had to specify or separate that. We also saw that Ruth said she would follow Naomi's God, singular, as opposed to her own gods. We also saw that Ruth gave her baby up to Naomi. We even went into the Hebrew word because he wanted to pull it out. It literally says to foster as a parent or nurse, right? And then the child was born unto Naomi, not unto Ruth, not unto her son, not unto her husband. And even with the nearest of kin, that inheritance still stays in that particular family, that particular tribe, because that was still the nearest of kinsman. And when that man died, that was the firstborn that still would have gotten it. It didn't need to be born to Naomi, if you understand the law. Now, let's see. We also saw that, we sat in the book of Ruth. We read through the book of Ruth. We touched on the book of Ruth to show that Ruth was not an Israelite. And this particular brother barely touched Ruth to talk about Ruth. He went around going into Deuteronomy and all of that, which was not in the time of Judges. And then when we fast forward to the particular time of Judges and Ruth, and we start to lay out everything, he's trying to jump back to Deuteronomy and Numbers, which are two completely different time periods. So I believe I proved that. And with that, I'm going to say Shalom. All praise to the Most High.
All right, Captain Kataza, your time will begin when you start speaking.
This brother is horrified of geography. I just want y'all to know that when the last chapter that I pulled up inside Numbers, it tells you where the country of Moab was in Mount Pisgah and Bamoth. That is way above the Arnon River. And he lied and said it was below the Arnon River out of pride, just so that this way he would be able to turn around and stand on that false doctrine. You know what I'm saying? So when you go and you look, even when he twists that word is used figuratively and has nothing to do with genuinely nursing. And the reason it's talking about foster is because of the transition of the inheritance. Why? Because this inheritance is being kept alive through this child. That's the whole point of the law of kinsman. He does not know the law, does not know the Bible. And I believe that without a shadow of a doubt, it's been proven that Ruth is an Israelite. I land.
All right, that is the conclusion of the official debate. So now we will have Yawasap explain what's going on next.
All right, all praise. Appreciate both y'all, man. Shout out to Captain Carter's ISUPK. Shout out to the Rise True Nation. All right. Now, do you brothers want to continue open build for any amount of time that you brothers are available? How do y'all both feel about that?
I don't mind. I'm locked in. I feel like at this point I would just be stomping a dead body to death.
I mean, we're going to be sitting there arguing about particular words and certain certain Hebrew words in the book of Ruth and whatnot. I mean, it's going to be a circular argument, but Captain got his ass whooped already. But it doesn't matter to me.
I think we need a precise answer though. So like, can we put a yes or no on the back end of that? So we can,
absolutely. Yes or no?
Yes, I'm down. You understand? To continue to stomp a dead body. I'm just saying it would be redundant.
All right. So Raj, are you with the bill?
Yeah, that's fine.
And how long do you guys want to build? Can we elect the time? Stay within that time frame.
I'm down for 10 minutes, and then we could hit the after party.
All right, cool. Raj, you cool with 10 minutes?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
All right, good deal. We're gonna have an open bill for 10 minutes. And then are you guys open for questions from the audience right after?
Yeah, I'm down for that. What are we gonna do? 3 like the last time?
Yep, 3-3.
Yeah, that's fine.
Stop yelling at me.
All right.
What's up? This nigga.
Man,
we'll do
I'm just
we'll
playing.
do 3 on each
Let me
end.
stop messing with y'all. What's up, man? He knows I love him, man.
We'll do 3 on each end. Make sure y'all click the little greenhouse at the top. Become a member of the Versus platform. Nominate others to top biblical formal debate platform on Clubhouse. This has been Daraj versus Captain Katazai. Is Ruth an Israelite or a Moabite? Right now we're gonna go into an open bill. The open bill has.
I'm gonna open up the chat now. I'm gonna open up the chat.
Yes, sir. Open the chat up. Light the chat up. Jump right into it. And let us know who you feel won. Let us know how you feel about the Versus platform. And then get into your own mini wars. Hey, Captain Katazai and Daraj, this is going to be an open bill. No holds barred, no rules. This is a straight back and forth. That's just fire. All right, 10 minutes. Mahalab, can we get that time set? Brothers, if you want to set the time yourself, that's cool. We'll only get in there if you guys are super tangled up. But other than that, we'll let you guys untangle yourselves. Other than that, Mahalab, you said right? Cool. No rules. It's on you to be able to muscle your way in there. The time will start when the first person starts speaking.
Yeah. So you said something, bro. And I really would like for you to prove this. You know what I'm saying? Pin the link at the top so that everybody could see it. That last question, when I said in Numbers 21 and 20, and from Bamoth in the valley, that is the country of Moab to the top of Pisgah, which looketh toward Jeshimon. You said that this is below the Arnon River. Can you show me where this area is below the Arnon River and that this is not in the land of Reuben, like you said?
Repeat the question.
So in Numbers 21 and 20, and from Bamoth in the valley, that is the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looketh toward Jeshimon. So can you show me that this is below the Arnon River, like what you said, and that this is not in the land of Reuben?
Oh, if that's what you said, then I misspoke. I misheard that question. That's my bad. That's perfectly fine.
So then can we clarify on what you misspoke on? So this
so what I was saying was the country of Moab, just like you see, you have the plains of Moab up top, you have the actual country of Moab, which is below the Arnon River. That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay, that's not what you said though. At verbatim, what you said
which
was
is why I just specified.
Okay, so just to be clear though, the country of Moab that we're talking about in Numbers 21 and 20, this is not below the Arnon. This is in the land of Reuben.
If you're talking about what's written in Numbers chapter 21, yeah, of course.
So in Numbers 21 and 20 though, this is the same exact phrasing that's used all throughout the book of Ruth. Why does it change in Ruth, and why is it the same here?
But it also has a number of other different phrasing. So, and you also see the land. You also, when you look at the country of Moab, it just because it says it right there, just because you see the same word, it says country here and country there, doesn't mean it's saying the exact same thing. Because when you read Numbers, it also says the land of Moab and whatever other phraseology that it has. So again, which is why I went directly to the book of Ruth, and we started reading in the book of Ruth and seeing what was going on in the book of Ruth to determine whether or not Ruth was an Israelite or a Moabite.
Yeah, but you're ignoring what I'm saying. I'm not talking about where the phrasing is different. I'm talking about where the phrasing is the same. So, for example, in Ruth 1 and 2, when it says country of Moab, it's the same exact Hebrew words as in Numbers 21 and 19.
Okay, but for example, when you read where it says the women of Moab, you also read in Kings where it says women of Moab, and you can use that, like you said earlier, depending on the context, you can use it for more than one thing. So now that's why I pulled it out earlier, because you're like, well, it says women of Moab, so it can't mean that because of this, because here's the definition. But then when you go to First Kings, it uses the exact same phraseology. So now when we're looking at the actual context of what's being written, that's how we can come to that conclusion. So just because it says country on one side and it says country on the other side, that doesn't mean, oh, this is the exact same place. That's what I'm saying.
But the difference is though, right?
You would have to show me in the book of Ruth where this is the same land of, you're saying, well, it says country right here. It has nothing to do with me being afraid of geography, because you said, oh, this brother's afraid of geography. It has nothing to do with being afraid of geography has everything to do with if we're reading the book of Ruth and you're saying it's near you're reiterating Numbers 21. This is the boundary of what is it called? Of the country of Moab, right? In Ruth, it doesn't say that. That's the point that I was making.
Okay, but here's the difference though, right? Because when you started this and you wanted to say what my opponent's premise is going to be, and everyone can run this back because the replays is on, you're going to say that the country of Moab is not in Numbers. I showed it in Numbers that it's the same exact phrasing, the same exact number, and it's going to be the same exact location. Because here's the other thing, the context of Moabitish, when you go and you open up the lexicon, says inhabitant of the land. And then and you would be making a valid point if all I did was go here. But what I did was I showed you that that entire geographical location was called the plains of Moab, the country of Moab, and the land of Moab, and gave the landmarks and showed them on a map. What you have not been able to do is show that it's anywhere else. And then even when I did ask you, you said, oh, I misspoke. Now you're misspeaking. But earlier you were so sure.
No, I misspoke on one particular point. So let's not sit up here and bullshit. Now you keep talking about you have yet to show me where else it is. Here's the thing. I'm reading straight out of the book of Ruth to show you what is being said in the book of Ruth. You're arguing about geography. You're reading, you're going through the atlases in geography, and we're sitting here, down in the book of Ruth. I didn't even ask you earlier. I asked you because you brought up the duty to a brother's wife. When I asked you about Ruth chapter 4 and verse 16, it says, and Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse to her. And the women said, there is a son born to Naomi. You gave this whole runaround to pretty much, I couldn't even keep up with you because you were just, all you had to simply say was this, what would I call it? In Ruth chapter 4 and verse 17, this had something to do, in your words, the duty to a brother's wife. So it essentially, it was still born unto Naomi because Naomi couldn't lose the inheritance or something along that line. And I want you to clarify that so I can speak on it because I don't want to misquote you on it.
All right, so
I'm gonna get to my point.
So let me go to the law, because it's, you don't understand how inheritance worked inside of Israel. Just like you didn't know that that word alien and stranger was the same and could be used for an Israelite, and tried to say that's terrible. That's terrible. When meanwhile that's what you said. I hope everybody runs this back and sees that. And when just wait, but I'm gonna make a clip out of that, bro. So now this is Numbers, the 27th chapter and the 8th through the 11th verse. This is concerning inheritance of land. So now it says, and thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a man die and have no son, then ye shall cause his inheritance to pass on to his daughter. He didn't have a daughter. And if he have no daughter, then you shall give the inheritance unto his brethren. He didn't have brethren. And if he has no brethren, then you shall give the inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then you shall give his inheritance unto his kinsman that is next to him of his family. And he shall possess it. And it shall be unto the children of Israel a statute of judgment, as the Lord commanded Moses. So when you look inside that story, Naomi's husband died. He didn't have any sons or daughters left. The only family that she had left was her daughter-in-law. So when she went back and they practiced the law of kinsmen, she went and found someone of his kin to marry her. So now the inheritance, because the land doesn't belong to Ruth, the land belongs to Naomi's side. And the closest to Naomi's side is who, but that's exactly what I'm saying. It belongs to Boaz, because Boaz is the nearest of, I'm trying to answer, because Boaz is the nearest of kin, because Boaz is the nearest of kin to Elimelech. It's not Boaz's direct land. He purchased it. Who did he purchase it from? He purchased it from
Naomi,
because Naomi was the one who was married to Elimelech.
No one's arguing.
So as a result,
what does that do with a child being born to Naomi instead of a child
I'm gonna have to say it
born to Ruth to be raised up in the name of Elimelech, or whichever son that she was married to. It said it was born to Naomi.
What it
That's what
has to say is that because Naomi was the one who sold the land, this is why it's talking to her. I have to talk like this because you don't get it if I speak regular. Because she was the one who was holding the land. So therefore the title goes to her because of her husband. What'd you say?
Who had the land? Who had the land when Ruth had the baby?
So when Ruth had the baby, Naomi had the land.
Okay, let's read it. It says, moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among the brethren and from the gate of his place. Ye are witness this day. Is Ruth pregnant here?
Okay, first of all, before we even get to is Ruth pregnant, slow down, because no, because I'm not going to let you skate on this, because you said who had the land. Ruth 4:3, and he said unto the kinsman Naomi that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land, which was our brother Elimelech's. The land was Elimelech's. It has to go back and stay in that family. They can't lose their inheritance. So Naomi had the land.
So here's my question. When you read verse 10, who has the land?
Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess.
Conclude the time.
Oh, all right. Well, no doubt.
That was 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was 10 minutes, and you got body bagged again.
You got your ass whooped for 10 minutes. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. There's blood everywhere. It's real bad.
I love the confidence, but you know, at some point it falls into delusion.
I know, and my confidence has not left, because you sounded real deflated after my first round, and from then it was just downhill. It was pure gas, no brakes for me.
I personally didn't sound deflated. Ain't no nigga that's 5'6" to make me feel.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. Like, listen, it's a small thing to a giant, my man. Because I'm trying to say, you know what I'm saying? It was real bad, my guy.
Let's click that little greenhouse at the top, become a member, nominate others to the Versus platform, man. Just had a juggernaut debate go back and forth for 88 minutes. Daraj versus Captain Katazak. Is Ruth an Israelite or Moabite? We don't judge debates on the Versus platform. We let the people say who won, man. Y'all got to communicate who won, man. You know, people are the judges. The streets got to talk. So, you know, we'll advance into the questionnaire round if we can get some hands raised. The only questions we're taking is if you have an authentic position to the opposite side. Meaning, if you believe that Ruth is a Moabite, then you take the stage and ask Captain Katazar questions. If you believe that Ruth was an Israelite, you can take the stage and ask Daraj questions. All right, so let's see. We need 3 people on each side. 3 people on each side. Any questions? Any questions?
Hey, Joshua Cologne, you a hater.
Let's see. Let's see. Any all right. Okay. Y'all was talking about halal. Y'all see anything?
I don't see questions.
Lucky I'm not able to see nobody's hand raised, man.
Yeah, man. So I think we might just got a stalemate on both sides when it comes to questions from the audience.
Cue the after party.
This is a new one. No questions from the audience on either side. Hold on, we got one question on one side. Let's see if we can at least get one question on the opposite side. Let's see what the brother's position is. What's going on, Feed Spirit? How you doing?
Hey, shalom.
Shalom. What is your position on the matter? Ruth is what?
I believe Ruth is a Moabite.
All right, so your belief is Ruth is a Moabite. So you will have a question for Captain Katazak, correct?
Correct.
All right, if you can mute your mic. Amath What is your position? Ruth is a what?
Shalom to the debate and everybody on stage. We teach that Ruth is Israelite. I do have a question for Brother Raj.
Got you. So you got a question for Daraj? If you can mute your mic. So let's see. We got one more in the queue, but I wanna kind of wait. Maybe we can just do a one-off because I thought it was gonna be a lot more people than that to do 3 and 3, but maybe we can just do 1 and 1. Captain Katazai and Daraj, are y'all fine with just one question apiece?
That's fine.
All right, cool. So,
2 parts to it?
No, the question must be within 30 seconds. You must ask the question within 30 seconds. There is no debating the debaters, meaning you will ask your question and we'll simply just drop you back down. Don't make a long-winded soliloquy on what you try to teach and demonstrate. Just simply ask the question to them. So you can preface it a little bit, but then be getting to the question, and then we drop you down. If it's a 2-part question, you will lose your question and it won't be answered at all. So just simply ask one question and then we'll drop you down. So first, Feed Spirit, we got Amoth, you can meet your right. First, we got Feed Spirit having a question to Captain Kaltazar, and then we'll drop down Feed Spirit right after that. So Feed Spirit, the floor is yours to ask your question.
Hey, Salaki, real quick, please say the "the." Please say the "the." But anyways, Salaki, so my question is, according to Deuteronomy 25 and 9, it says his brother's wife will come before the elders, lose his shoe and spit in his face. So can you show Ruth doing that in chapter 4?
Okay, so here's what you see. Boom, boom, boom. So this is exactly what you see inside of Ruth chapter 4. Let's start at, this is Ruth chapter 4 and 5. Then said Boaz, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi? Thou must buy it also of the Ruth Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Extremely important. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar mine own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. Now, this was the manner of time in Israel concerning redeeming and countering change. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and that was the testimony in Israel. So it tells you what the tradition was. Therefore, the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoes. It didn't say that the testimony was everything else. It says in this day, it was plucking his shoe off, and he drew off his shoe. So that's all you see inside that chapter.
I appreciate that answer, Captain Kaltazar. And then we have the last answer from the good brother Amath to Daraj. 30 seconds to ask your question. Be get into it. The floor is yours, and then I'll drop you down.
Khan, the water. Shalom, Brother Daraj. I have a question. Considering how the entire totality of the scriptures views heathens and how the Most High feels about heathens and deals with heathens, why would the lineage of Yahushua, who is the savior of Israel, have a heathen in the lineage of Yahushua?
Shalakia Khan. So let's go to the scriptures, right? We'll go to the book of Numbers, chapter 1. And verse 18. Shalakia. Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. And it reads, And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward. So the whole point of me bringing this out is who Christ's great, 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 great grandmother is doesn't matter. It matters who his father was. And that's why when you even read in the book of Matthew, it goes down his patrilineage, and it tells you that he was from this man, or this man begat this man, begat this man, begat this man, begat this man, because you are what your father is. So when you ask that question, it doesn't really make sense to me, because we saw a number of times that you had Israelites that did that. And it wasn't because, oh, they did that, they're no longer Israelites. This is still a man of the tribe of Judah, because his forefathers were of the tribe of Judah.
And I appreciate that, Daraj. If y'all can, please give the brothers a follow right now, man. It takes a decent amount of time to put together a lesson, for Israel to be able to be edified from. But on top of that, a formal debate, which is like a lesson and then an argument and a fight.
I gave you a PowerPoint, Corey. A PowerPoint.
A PowerPoint. And I was tuned in to the PowerPoint, and it was beautifully arranged and set up. So I just want to let people know, make sure you following the good brother Captain Katazan and good brother Daraj of True Nation. You have to follow these brothers, because these brothers put together edification. And though you may agree with one side or the other, or neither, because you're an atheist, whatever the position is, they really hold strong to their faith and demonstrated it today. So I want to appreciate both brothers who's coming to the Versus platform. Follow the moderators if you can. If you won't smoke on any topic that's biblical between Genesis and Revelation, as well as going into history about anything that has anything to do with anything, hit us up in the back chat. We're going to get you on the Versus platform to have the build. Follow myself, the good brother Corey, Mahalab, as well as Yawasop. Follow us all. Make sure you click that little greenhouse at the top, become a member of the Versus platform, and nominate others. This has been an excellent debate. We're also going to let Clubhouse kind of host parties, free range. We don't have an official one tonight. We don't have anybody that can host it tonight. So we'll just probably jump into some rooms and kind of enjoy what you guys create on Clubhouse. We got free range tonight. But appreciate Captain Katazan. I appreciate the good brother Daraj. Shalom to you, brothers.
Hey, shalom, man. And y'all, what's up? Just put the food on the hood of your car. It'll be all right. Let the sun cook it.
God.